Hi guys, welcome to Tea Time with B and Kit. I'm B,
And I'm Kit.
and today we are bringing a different format to you guys.
We are still going to be consistent. This is just a one off or temporary one. We are still going to be recording a wonderful
hmm
episode for you.
Yes, life is going to be getting a little bit busier nowadays, so we're still going to be bringing you amazing content, just a little bit different. That's all. So
Most
today we are
people
going to
is
be.
drive.
Oh,
You know what I realized though, B, is
yes.
most people are driving and listening to us, so they don't usually see us.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So if you're driving, you won't really notice any difference, but if you are watching us, then there is a little difference
Just a little bit.
in the
But
visual aspect of things, but um, business as usual.
so today's episode is going to be healing
Hmm.
the good girl pattern.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is so important to both of us because B and I had been the good girl for such a long time. And
Hmm.
now we are kind,
Bad
you
girls.
know. Yeah. I was like, we're no longer that version of us. And I think that that is so powerful. And especially being of a woman and being raised this way, it's so powerful when you break out of this pattern. So
Yeah.
B, what exactly is like the good girl pattern?
Whew. This is going to be bringing back little bits of trauma.
Yeah, we're gonna
So
dig right
good
into it.
girl, so good girl patterns is where you lack boundaries and you are the yes man or woman, right? So you lack boundaries, you say yes to everything, you can't think for yourself, you allow others to manipulate you, you are a pick me as well, because I feel like it kind of encompasses the weakness of a woman. And I feel pick me's are also very weak. So you other people are controlling you, and you also want to have validation from other people. You're just like, oh, I'm a good person, or I'm pretty, or I can do good things. And I feel like we want to be labeled as good girls because you know and not just like those kind of things, especially like when it comes from your family too. You want to be perceived as the good daughter. You want to be, the good child. You always want to be given the accolades, and it's always the bad kid that doesn't. So I think we've been groomed to think that way,
Mm.
and then when you get older,
Mhm.
you have that moment where it's like, oh shit, this is backwards.
I was thinking about that too. It's like when I was little, it's like you're groomed. It's like, oh, who's a good girl? Oh, you got to be the good girl. You got to learn how to do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Don't talk back. And it's like, you know, you're being praised for like being quiet, helpful,
Yeah.
always
All.
being selfless. Like, what can you do for people? You know, um, and it's like, oh, go serve so and so. It's like, go do this for that person. And you do so much for other people and you're literally taught to put everybody above you, and that was deemed good.
Yeah.
And I just think about like my childhood. It's like I was taught to be submissive, be quiet,
Yes.
and
Obey.
obey. Yeah. And I think that that was so confusing as you're growing up and you're in relationships and you're in friendships and you're lifing and trying to figure out and navigate like, okay, well, I want to be good. No, I want to be that good one. I want to be the one that everybody like loves because I'm doing everything right. But when you're doing that, you still experience heartbreaks, you still experience breakups, you still experience life. And I think that it really can put a toll on you because you're like, I'm doing everything right,
Yeah.
but because I'm doing everything right, like Why
Well,
is
you're
this
doing
happening?
everything right according to how you've been conditioned and also by society norms. So you, along that journey, you lose yourself.
Mhm.
And it's a sad, unfortunate truth. And I'm not saying, you know, women need to be aggressive and this that, and the complete opposite. But it's understanding, yes, I should serve, but what degree? Yes, I should be submissive, but only when I have somebody with me who is a leader.
Or somebody who respects, like somebody who you can feel safe and secure with.
Yeah, and it's not, you're not being submissive because you're being controlled.
Mhm. You know, I think this is like what really like it hit hard with me is like you were taught to avoid disappointing others even at the cost of disappointing yourself.
But this is, yes, and I feel like, especially as brown girls, we were never taught to think about ourselves, our feelings. It was all about everybody else's feelings first.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
taught to people please. I feel like just growing up and seeing like learning how to people please, that was like I feel like my mission at one point when I was little, like people pleasing. And because you're people pleasing, you show up as like unauthentic. And when you're showing up as inauthentic, you're like not being true to you. You don't have a relationship with yourself.
No,
And everyone around you is, it's not like, it's such a dissatisfying feeling because you're just like, I remember waking up one day and being like, you know what? I don't know who I am. And I'm tired of people pleasing because everybody I people please, they're not happy. I'm not happy. And where has this taken me? Like, I think that when you're taught to do all of this, right? Like the people pleasing and all of this, like
mhm,
you weren't ever taught an identity. And
no,
I think that's just so hard, especially because you're trying to please your parents. What, like you're like, let's say if you're young, it's grades, school. Also, you're trying to please your parents with like doing the right thing, which is like being cultured and learning how to cook, maybe clean. You're being, how to speak to elders, how to take, um, what's it called when they criticism. You're
mhm,
learning how to take all of these different components
yeah.
and not say anything, not stand up for yourself. And then you find yourself when you're older wondering why you're not able to advocate for yourself, to speak up and to do to be who true to yourself because like you weren't taught that.
No, you're not taught. And it, because you're saying yes all the time, and especially in scenarios when you want to say no, you question yourself, but you also build up resentment for either said person or situation. So I feel like now that, and this is mainly toward like millennial women, is I feel like now we've opened our eyes. This is why so many of us are either in therapy or looking to get into therapy, because we hold on to a lot of resentment because we were like, I did all the things that you wanted me to do. I listened and I obeyed, and I didn't talk back. I didn't question things. Um, there was no like crossing the boundary. You know, I was respectful. I got good grades. I was a good friend. I was a good girlfriend. But yet, no, it was, people take advantage of that. And you know, deep down, it's you. People are taking advantage of you. But because you still want to uphold that connection with somebody, you stay in that good girl realm, but you hold on to resentment,
Mhm.
and turns into trauma.
You made a good point. Is like a lot of millennial women or just women or women from different cultures that were
Mhm.
taught this. were put in therapy. The first thing you're taught in therapy is typically boundaries, right? Because you kind of do a deep dive of everything you experience, and then most of the time the therapist talks about, or your counselor or your coach, whoever, talks about boundaries. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember when I first learned about boundaries, this is like years ago. But when I first learned about boundaries, like I felt so guilty for having boundaries. And I remember like me and my therapist, like we would always talk about like, okay, make a list of boundaries that we have to like implement, and where can we go ahead and implement these boundaries, um and I would feel so guilty for implementing this. I'm like, well, what about like the way that they would feel? Or
Yeah.
I was always putting in everyone else's feelings that I would disregard. And I remember like my therapist at that time, she was just like, well, who's worrying about you, kid? Like,
Yeah.
and then she's like, they're going to live their lives. And if they show you, if they can't handle your boundary, then what type of person is that? And I remember that really stuck with me. And I remember also like going through it, even with like past clients, like whenever we did the boundaries list, and it was like the first time when you implement boundaries or you even learn what a boundary is, the immediate reaction that we have is that feeling of guilt.
Yeah.
And it's so sad that we're conditioned in us not to put other people before us. We're putting, or not to put ourselves before other people. In reality, we should be taught the other way around. And
Yeah.
I just think about also, it's like, and yeah, it's generational. It's a cyclical thing, right? Where it's generationally that most people did not, especially women, did not put themselves first.
Yeah.
But it's so sad that you feel guilty when you execute a boundary.
Yeah. I also feel like good girls always aim to for being perfect in every scenario. And I think that's why they become good girls, because they realize that that boundary obviously is there to protect them, right? But if I implement said boundary, I may lose my connection, or they may not love me or respect me.
Hmm.
Um, it's it's exhausting. I, for the longest time, because I was never felt like I was good enough. I was never told that I could achieve certain things, or I am just able. Like,
Hmm.
we love you, you can achieve great things. Whatever you want to do, we will help you. I never got that. So I felt like I need to do things for other people just to see I exist, because I felt like I was invisible to my family, to my friends growing up. Um, and then whenever I got married each time, it was always, I wanted to be the perfect daughter in law, because you
Hmm.
say in Bollywood movies, right? What perfect daughter in laws are supposed to be, what mother in laws want. So
Hmm.
I thrive to become who they wanted me to become, lose myself on the way, and then I'm like, good being a good girl got me nothing, just divorced. I mean, I'm good for that. I'm not saying divorce is a bad thing. I think divorce is a beautiful thing. I'm saying that we thrive for perfection, but along the way we lose ourselves. There's no working on us. We're working on all the external,
Hmm.
and there's nothing here, nothing internally we're working on, and that is so sad.
It's so funny that you mentioned that because I feel like I was a perfectionist and I would always try to do like go all above and beyond for everyone. And I think that when I hit bottom, it was like I always felt like I was just people pleasing to like the max. And then once like everything hits rock bottom, you're gonna explode. You're gonna be like, F this, I'm done.
Yeah,
Enough is enough. And then that's what happened. That's what happened to me. That's what happened to so many women, right? And I think to me is like you just become like exhausted. And I think you get to the point also that you're forced to be alone in a way too. Like I was forced to be alone and I was forced to like have a relationship. And when I was in that point to where I was like, I'm done with people pleasing, like, and it wasn't reciprocated either. You know, it was like, oh, Kit will do this. She's so nice. She's so nice. And but to the point where I had to figure out life and navigate life by myself, I got to the point where I actually enjoyed being by myself and enjoy that time getting to know me.
Mm.
And it's like in the beginning, yeah, it's tough because it's different. It's like new and it's like out of your comfort zone because you're used to spending it being around people and always being busy and always doing something. And now it's like sometimes it's just like you enjoy just those quiet times with you or you don't need to, and I don't now I don't have to feel like I perform. And the people in my life, like I don't have to people please around either, but I think it's exhausting, you know?
It is exhausting. And then piggybacking off of what you're saying is it's exhausting. And it also, for I didn't learn this until later on in life, it was affecting my nervous system. I truly
Mhm.
didn't understand what it meant, how what I felt, what it meant. And it is literally the past few years, and it's so sad that now I'm learning this in my 40s, is that I was thriving in chaos
Mhm.
because I was the good girl, because I wasn't pushing back. And whenever I did push back, I was deemed as difficult. And you need to learn your place. And then if somebody keeps saying that to you, you're like, oh, maybe I am wrong. I need to
Mhm.
go back to thriving in chaos again because that's the only way that I'm going to be given love or respect or acknowledged. And it has, yeah, I thrived in chaos and it affected my nervous system so much where I was just always on edge all the time, just
Yeah.
wanting to be
Yeah.
the good, always wanting, always, 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 always. It was like pinching at me always.
No, I know. Like I think that we were both very extremes. It's like perfectionism and everything that we did. We wanted to make sure that we were perfect for all in front of everybody to make sure that like nothing and even I think you're right is like my nervous system was like I had no clue about nervous system regulation. I had no clue about
Yeah.
high cortisol. I had
I
no
think a lot of
clue.
this, I think a lot of all of this is very like new.
I mean, yeah, like within the last few years, like we've been realizing what it was. And when your nervous system's so out of whack, that's the only thing it knows. That's how it operates. And the minute that you start regulating it, it feels like a world of difference. And I think that the good, like it's funny now because when somebody calls me like, "Oh, you're so nice," or "You're so kind." Oh no, no, it's "You're nice," or "You're so good." I cringe, and you shouldn't have to cringe at that word. Like, I remember we had a mutual friend who said that to me, and I was like, "No, I'm not. I'm
I'm
not that.
kind.
Like, no, I'm kind. I'm
Yeah.
kind, but I have boundaries, and then you don't mess with me with my boundaries." It's like I
Girl,
no
yeah.
longer strive to be good, the good girl, the
Mm-hmm.
passive, the submissive. Like, no,
No.
I am outspoken. I stand up for myself. And I remember like when I was younger, like people pleasing and being a good girl, like led me to live a life in fear. What was I so
Yes, because of
afraid of?
rejection.
It was a fear
Because
of rejection.
we were afraid of losing people. We were afraid of rejection. We were afraid of people calling us out, even though boundaries shouldn't be called out. It should be respected and understood. And now I'm just like, I don't have time to play these games because I now see who people are and the people that you love and honor and respect will also love, honor, and respect you and your boundaries. It's really as simple as that.
And I just feel like when you live life and you're operating in fear, it's like, okay, what's the worst that could happen? And I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of times, like when you're going in that situation of like, oh my gosh, like my family might be threatening me to send me to a different country, or
Oh,
my,
girl, I've had
or like,
that.
yeah, that's what I'm saying is like, or, this man might not love me, or, oh, what will my friends think of me? Like to
Yeah,
me,
it's
it's just like exhausting because you're living in life in so much fear that you're
yeah,
not living life for you.
authentic. Yeah, it's not authentic,
No.
and it's so sad for women in who grew up in the era of social media that now you have to show the whole world. It wasn't even like your close people, because how we grew up, we didn't have social media
No.
until a lot later on in life. So those crucial years, it was the people that were closest to us, right? Our family, our friends, our colleagues, people we go to school with, our teachers. It was, and then when social media came about, still millennials were still getting used to it, but the younger ones got on, and I mean, I sound like an old person now, but they got on and ran with it, and I feel like it caused. There's positives to social media too, but I feel like it created these monsters online, these good girls online, you know, and you have to portray yourself in a certain way, because people online, and we see this all the time, influencers get broken down. You say one thing that's not right, people don't agree with, you're going to be trolled, you're going to get hate. It's worldwide.
I think the biggest thing I learned now is that people are going to talk shit about you
And
no
yeah,
matter what. Like,
you're never
you're
going to
good,
please
you're
everyone. It
kind, like,
doesn't
you're
matter.
nice. The minute that you do something that is not like,
Yeah.
that's different,
Hmm.
people are going to talk about you. Like, I remember, like, you and I are both in the events industry, and like, I
I think
remember
that's why
all,
we were good at events, is because we are perfectionists, and that I swear everyone in the events industry kind of has the same kind of trauma. I'm not going to lie, because we are perfectionists, and there is a lot of chaos, and there is a lot of stress, and we make it happen regardless. So what the guests see, nobody knows.
girl, I feel like we should do a whole episode about events too.
Oh,
That'll be
100%.
a fun one. But there's two things I remember, but like 100% what you're saying is right. Is like we thrived on that chaos. And I think that when we both started doing events, the reason, like, we both had not done that healing, that inner work of figuring out who we were. So
Mm-mm.
it's like we thrived in that kind of atmosphere. And the
Yes.
second too is I remember I was raised like the same way. It's like, right, like good, like the nice girl. She's so good. She does everything, blah, blah, blah. She takes care of her
Mhm.
family. She does this. And I remember the minute that I did something that was outside of the ordinary, I did events. I remember all the same aunties and stuff that were saying, oh, she's so good, this and this. They were literally the ones that were talking shit about me, about how I was doing events, and they're like, "Oh, what so she's doing events, and then what does that mean?" And even like their children, they were so judgmental and all of that.
Yeah,
And the
but
funny,
later on, they're the ones that hired us.
like literally, that's what
Yeah,
happened is
we
like
got
they were the
paid.
ones who ended up hiring me, and then they realized, "Oh shit, she's really good at what she does."
Yeah, we're legit. Not
And
Mickey
she's
Mouse
a
shit.
businesswoman, she's savvy,
Mhm.
and she's well known, and she does like her shit. And I
Yeah.
think that to me, when you realize that, is like I quit caring. Like you both, you can't like, you're gonna do something wrong regardless or not. Like that's the reality of the situation. Like nobody, like they say that they want perfect, but nobody is perfect. And so whenever you make mistakes, they're gonna make, or whatever you're, when you're living your life, people are gonna hate.
But yeah, that's right. It doesn't matter if you make mistakes or not. It's you live your life authentically, people are still going to talk shit about you. So be a good person and live authentically, but I'm not going to be under this umbrella of, oh, I'm a good girl. No, I'm bad bitch. I
That's
will,
it.
yeah, no. I stand up for myself, set boundaries. I know what I want in life. I know what's required from other people as well. Before I used to think, oh, I need to call somebody out, but I can't because I'm a good girl.
No, I
I'm
think
too
for
old for
me,
that
like,
now.
yeah, I'm done. I feel like I think that the people and then the quality people I surround myself with are people who I like having in my corner. And
Hmm.
I can be authentically me. I don't have to hide. I don't have to be anything but who I am.
Yeah.
And honestly, like choosing me all the time, like I feel great about the people I'm around too, because this is going to be me. I show up no matter where I'm at, whether it's at work, whether it's organizations, whether it's with friendships. Who I am at my core does not change. Yeah, maybe I might be a little bit more professional whenever
Yeah.
it's like work or organizations, but when I show up with my friends, it's all going to be the same. You get the same person that
Same girl. I ain't
through
got.
and through.
I don't have time. I get it. Like if you have a mental health disorder, then fair enough. But I'm I don't have time to wear a different persona each time I'm around different people. That is bloody exhausting. I I'm already exhausted. Why do I
Hmm.
need to be who you want me to be? No, I'm going to be me. Take me as I am, or leave me the hell alone. It's one or the other. I cannot be in the middle. That is where I feel like I lived majority of my life because I knew I wanted to be people pleaser because that was the only way I was being seen.
Hmm.
But then I'm giving up who I am and I lost who I was. And if I ever brought up said scenario or try to bring up a boundary, obviously you need to learn. And that is one another thing as well. Maybe we should do a podcast on this. Is about boundaries. It's about not like I need you to do this. It's about having a civilized conversation and about explaining, okay, this is how I feel when this is being done, and I'm not going to accept this anymore. And it's been and saying it with a level head, right? And I didn't know about this like boundaries or anything. It would literally be like an outburst, but a boundary nonetheless. And it would be disregarded that you're being disrespectful or you're being loud or you're being rude or, you know, this is not acceptable in our culture. And, girls don't speak like this and you have no shame. And then you slowly then you go back on this line of good and bad. And you're like, okay, where do I stand? And I was always in the middle because I would always want to question it. I would always want to think, okay, this is not right. I, when I got married to Jasmine's dad, granted I was young, but I was old in years, like old soul. So I knew I could handle being a wife. And I was thrown into the deep end. I lived with my in laws and my sister in law
Hmm.
in a small house. I mean, houses in England aren't as big as the ones in America. And I took on a responsibility of somebody like my mum that had been married for donkey's years. Mind you, I was newly married and I was expected to cook and clean and go to work and provide and be obedient. And along the way, I lost touch with my family, even though we lived in the same town. I didn't see anyone. I didn't wear very much makeup when I got married, but my in-laws did, my sister-in-laws did. And it was always encouraged to look like a Christmas tree. And it made me feel uncomfortable. But again, I'm a good girl. I'm going to obey and I'm going to be respectful because it will then fall on my mum and my dad. Like, your mum and dad didn't teach you anything. Like, isn't people need to stop saying things like that because it doesn't fall on them. It falls on me. I have an opinion. It's not my mum and dad's opinion. My mum and dad taught me respect in the way that they knew how. So I now am taking on that trauma. I would work, and then I got pregnant with Jasmine. I had her, no help from my ex husband, went back to work full time. Mind you, I miscarried on my first week back at work.
Mm.
My mother in law didn't care. And I still cooked and I still cleaned, took care of a baby, handled my husband, ex husband. And when Jasmine turned 1, we had a function at the local Gurdwara. And mind you, I hadn't seen anyone in ages
Mm.
because even visiting my family was just like, oh, you're going to go visit your mom and dad? Oh, okay. It was like I had to ask permission
Oh.
to leave. And then we had the function at the Gurdwara for her first birthday. And we did that because I felt like that was, they would respect me and love me if I suggested, yes, we're going to go do a part for her birthday. We could have easily done a birthday party and served alcohol and all of that. But also, Jasmine had a blessing, so it's fine, right? My family, oh, so Jasmine had chicken pox on her first birthday. So she
Oh
couldn't
my
go.
gosh.
She was with my mum. And I went to the Gurdwara on Jasmine's behalf because obviously Jasmine couldn't make it. So me and her dad were there with, we had a lot of people. It was pretty much like a wedding reception at the Gurdwara.
Mm.
And my suit that I wore was falling off of me because I had lost so much weight. And my aunt pulled me aside and was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Absolutely." Mind you, nobody really knew. I'd left home. I'd left his house and I was living with my parents at the time with Jasmine because she had chickenpox. His parents didn't want her in their house because they said, traditionally speaking, children should, in our culture, if somebody has chickenpox, you're not supposed to eat meat or drink alcohol around them because it's mata or something. I don't
Mm.
know
Mhm.
the real reason, but this was like basics, right? So his parents said, well, in that case, you can take her and go live with your mum and dad because we're not going to not eat meat or drink alcohol in the house. So
Wow.
they weren't able to sacrifice that for a few weeks, right? So I had already moved and me and him went on good terms. But as being a good girl, I had to still put up a front, deal with the disrespect and the freaking, like, just, you know, all the nonsense that was happening. And I lost myself. And when I let, and after everything, I was still living with my parents.
Mhm.
Um, they were like, "Well, Jasmine's better now. Are you not going to go back?" And I was like, "I don't want to go back." And that was the first time that I started breaking the good girl in me. Because I was thinking to myself, how, if I didn't have Jasmine, I would continue being the good girl, I think.
Mhm.
I got strength from her.
I
Yeah.
mean, she got strength from you, I think, too. I think going back, you know, somebody always says, like, how women, when we have enough, right? And whatever that may be. And I think that, like, you had enough whenever you were going in that situation. You're just like,
Yeah.
I'm just done.
I was losing weight. I was falling apart. I didn't understand like mental health. Like I didn't understand any of this stuff because my nervous system was out of whack. I was just
And we
surviving, trying to
just,
survive.
yeah, like, we just didn't know better. And I think that, like, we're so, like, as a society and as a culture, we're just taught this is what you, these are the cards that you're dealt, and that's it.
That's
There's no
it.
life outside of this and that.
Yeah. And I had immense pressure on me because my mom and dad had spent so much money on our wedding and I felt I didn't want to be a disappointment. And I tried and I tried and I was like, there's only so much one person can take. And I changed myself. And I'm like, I changed myself. I was unrecognizable to the point where that's how far I changed myself. And I thought, you know what, sod this. I need to show my daughter that this is unacceptable.
Hmm. I think that, like, I mean, it goes to show it's like, I think that when, same, it's like, good girl, right? And it's like, oh, good girl does this, good girl does that. And it's like, either way, like, you're not pleasing anyone. There's somebody that's always going to be unsatisfied. And the
Yeah.
root cause of all that is they're just so unhappy with themselves. And we can't fix everybody. We can't. The only person that we can fix is us.
Yes.
And the only
And
person we
if we
can
fix
change
ourselves,
is
we're
us.
going to help the next generation. And I feel like people just get their noses out, like bent out of place because you are trying to work on yourself, but also you're calling when you're working on yourself, people then try to they slowly see their reflection too without you even calling them out on their BS because you're now improving, but they're still stuck in their same place. Now it's like, oh, you're like this and you're like that. That's okay, sweetheart. Whatever you want to call it, say as you please. I am going to still be a good person, but I am not going to fall under the good girl umbrella anymore. It's just not going to happen.
And and when you implement that boundary and you see the way people act towards you,
Yeah.
that's exactly who they are at their core.
Yeah, and I think people don't see it. People show you who they are. We don't want to see it.
I remember I got into an argument one time with a friend and I mentioned boundary to her. And
Hmm.
I was like, I'm withholding my boundaries. And then she's like, we don't do boundaries on each other, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what? And I was like, no.
Dumbass.
And yeah, we all, boundaries are not for, like, boundaries are for you. They're not
Yeah, and they're for
based on,
you and they're forever. It's not like you pick and choose. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. And I just think that, like, in the end of the day, like, people will show you exactly who they are
Hmm.
when you implement a boundary. And I think that is so powerful because once you quit being the good girl, you can be kind. Like, you're not cold. Like, this whole exercise about letting go of being nice does not mean you're like all of a sudden cold, you're mean. No, it means that, look, I'm trying to live my life in peace. I'm trying
Yeah.
to live my life in a healthy way.
Hmm.
And if you're not part of my life, there's a reason why you're not part of my life because it's toxic, it's dysregulating my nervous system, it's no longer serving me any,
Yeah.
and I no longer can tolerate it. And like that's exactly how you felt with your family, with like that, like the family that you married into is like it no longer was serving you. Same with the friendships and the relationship I had, even with through my family. Like I was okay not having that relationship with my sister whenever we quit talking because I was done serving and people pleasing. And people make comments as soon as you start changing and you let go of that old version of you, they're going to make comments about you like, oh, you're changed. You're
Yeah.
not who you used to be.
I have changed. It's good that I've changed. You just don't like that version of me now because I cannot be manipulated and you can't brainwash me. You can't control the narrative and you
No.
don't get to and because of who I've worked on myself and I have this boundary, it's automatically exposing who you are and
Hmm.
you get comfortable with that. Yeah.
And I think it's okay for us to, I think the thing is like we have to give ourselves a permission to outgrow that version of us, like the people pleasing, and to give us love and
Mhm.
forgiveness for all
Yeah.
of the things. And also, we were so, I think if you outgrow those versions of you and you no longer tolerate, then you should give yourself a pat on your back. You should give yourself accolades because that is something that you need to be strong in order to do. Because standing up for yourself, championing yourself, executing and withholding a boundary,
Yeah.
even when it hurts, is all things that people are so afraid to do. That's why they're stuck living as a people pleaser, living as a good girl. Like, I no longer like want to be that. I'm kind, but no, you don't get anything past me anymore.
Mm-mm.
And
No.
this is who I am. I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm living my life because I no longer tolerate
Yeah.
less than behavior from
Yeah, I
anybody.
think it's okay to outgrow those roles that we used to play. It's time to truly embrace who you really are and be kind. And because nice gets taken advantage of.
Yeah, nice to good. I remember like when I was younger, a guy would tell me like as we were breaking up, and he's like, "Well, you're too nice." I was like, "What? Isn't nice a good thing?" Like, "You care too much. You're too nice." Like all those things,
Oh,
and it's
okay,
like,
when I don't care enough, I'm a bitch. When I care too much, I'm too nice for you. This, you're
it's
damned
like
if you
that
do, you're
book,
damned.
like Why Men Love Bitches, right? And it's like bitches are women who implement and execute boundaries.
Yeah,
And that's what it is. It's standing up for yourself. And I think that you can be kind and you can be soft and you don't have to be cold, but you're not going to have, not everyone's going to have access to a woman who's healed. Like,
yeah,
no, not
and I don't,
everybody gets access to us anymore because
yeah,
we don't want that.
no. And brown women, a lot of brown women are not healed.
I think that's like the stigma of our culture is that if you're getting therapy, something's wrong with you. But honey, to truth be told, there is something wrong with majority of us.
I mean, yes, but then it's also when you have boundaries, like in brown culture, boundaries aren't a thing. I mean, they are nowadays, but we've been conditioned there's not a boundary. You just do as you're told,
Yeah.
right?
And I think a lot of times, like, would you rather live life or would you rather live life in fear?
Mm.
And I think that's one thing that like. I think for me, now what I'm afraid of is I'm afraid of not living my life and not being true to who I am.
Girl, yes. I want to be able to live my life to the fullest and I don't care who I piss off on the way. I'm going to be
Mhm.
happy and I'm going to be kind to myself before I be kind to anybody else.
Yeah.
And I know that if I'm not true and authentic to me, then nobody gets to see who I really am. And I don't care if listen, girl, I'm not everyone's cup of tea and I don't choose to be, I don't want to be. It's as simple as
Oh,
that.
same. I don't want to be. I'm not, and nor do I want to be. And I feel like, and if we differ, then that's okay. Like, we can, agree to disagree at times, but I don't, I rather choose my peace every single time
Yeah,
than to
that's it.
disrupt and like make my nervous system go haywire, you know?
Yep.
I
Oh,
think
that's
this was
good.
a good episode. I mean, we have, there's so many resources out there. I think that if you are looking for a way to start healing, I mean, I know that there is even there's like the Brown therapy network. I forgot what it's called, but it's like the Brown Girl Therapy or something like that. We'll find the resources and we'll add it to our podcast episode. Because I mean, if you are part of the South Asian community, that's a good resource. Otherwise, do your research, and I would recommend you starting to start your healing journey because once you do, you will become so much more powerful and you'll
Yeah,
start actually loving life and living life to the fullest,
that's it,
rather than worrying about living life in fear and wondering what everyone's saying, thinking about you.
girl.
Because at the end of the day, that doesn't matter because the the same person's still gonna say something about you no matter what.
Exactly. At least you do be true to yourself.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it. Whew, it's like therapy right now.
Do you want to tell people where to find us?
No, I'm kidding. Don't forget to find us on all social media platforms and check out our website. It's www.teatime with B and Kit, spelled out and Kit. And we'd love for you to check it out. Let us know your thoughts about this episode. And again, just FYI, if you are watching this, format might be a little bit different, but same but different, like what they say, same but different.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm just waffling now, but anyways, we love you guys.